Welcome to Psychology of Humans. Memory is the thread that stitches your life together, connecting who you were, who you are, and who you'll become. But have you ever wondered how memory actually works? Why some moments stay vivid forever while others vanish overnight? Today, we'll explore the psychology of memory, how your brain creates, stores, and retrieves the story of your life. Let's start with something surprising. Your memory isn't a recording device. It doesn't capture moments like a camera or play them back like a film. Instead, it's reconstructive, meaning each time you recall a memory, your brain rebuilds it from scattered fragments of data. Every act of remembering slightly changes the memory itself. In other words, your memories aren't just about the past, they're shaped by the present too. That's why eyewitness testimony is notoriously unreliable. Two people can witness the same event and remember it completely differently, not because they're lying, but because their brains stored and rebuilt the experience through their own emotional filters, biases, and perceptions. There are 3 stages of memory. Psychologists divide memory into 3 core stages: encoding, storage, and retrieval. Encoding is where it all begins. It's how information first enters your mind. When you see, hear, or feel something, your brain translates that experience into a pattern of neural activity. But not everything gets encoded. Your attention acts as the gatekeeper, deciding what's important enough to store. That's why you can walk into a room and forget why you came. Your brain never encoded that intention deeply enough in the first place. Next is storage, where memories are stabilized and filed away. This happens through a process called consolidation, which mostly occurs during sleep. That's why sleep is critical for learning. Your brain is literally replaying and organizing the day's experiences while you rest. Finally, there's retrieval, the process of pulling stored information back into awareness. When a memory surfaces, you're not opening a file. You're reconstructing the pattern of neural activity that represents that memory. And the more often you recall it, the stronger those neural pathways become. This is known as consolidation, short-term versus long-term memory. Your memory system has different layers. Short-term memory is like a mental scratchpad. It holds small amounts of information, about 7 items at once, for just a few seconds. Try memorizing a phone number without repeating it, and you'll see how short-lived it really is. But when you rehearse or attach meaning to information, it can move into long-term memory. This storage has an almost limitless capacity and can last a lifetime, though not every memory makes it there. Long-term memory comes in 2 main types: explicit and implicit. Explicit memory involves conscious recall, facts, names, events, and experiences. Implicit memory, on the other hand, runs silently in the background: skills, habits, and emotional responses. That's why you can forget someone's name but still know how to ride a bike. Emotion and memory. Emotion is the amplifier of memory. When something triggers strong feelings, fear, joy, grief, excitement, your brain releases chemicals like adrenaline and cortisol. These signal the amygdala, the emotional center, to prioritize the memory. That's why you can remember exactly where you were during major life events: your first love, a painful loss, or a moment of triumph. But emotion doesn't just make memories stronger, it can also distort them. Stress and trauma, for example, can either etch details deeply into memory or fragment them entirely. That's why trauma survivors sometimes experience flashbacks, vivid sensory replays of unprocessed memories that bypass the rational mind. Interestingly, positive emotions can also improve memory consolidation. When you're in a good mood, your brain releases dopamine, which strengthens learning and recall. So, your emotional state doesn't just color your memories, it helps shape what sticks and what fades. Forgetting, and why it's essential. Forgetting might seem like a flaw, but it's actually one of memory's most important functions. Your brain constantly filters information, discarding what's irrelevant to make room for what matters most. If you remembered every sound, face, and detail from every day, you'd be overwhelmed. Selective forgetting helps you stay focused on what's useful. Psychologist Hermann Ebbinghaus discovered the forgetting curve, a pattern showing how quickly information fades if it isn't reinforced. Within an hour, you can forget up to half of what you learned. But with repetition and review, your brain strengthens those pathways, flattening the curve and locking memories in place. There's also something called motivated forgetting. This happens when your mind deliberately suppresses painful or conflicting memories to protect your emotional well-being. It's not erasure; those memories are still stored, just harder to access. Memory and the senses. Memory is deeply tied to the senses. Smells, sounds, and even textures can instantly unlock old memories. This happens because sensory input travels through the limbic system, the brain's emotional hub, before reaching the rational cortex. That's why the scent of rain or the sound of a song can transport you back decades in a heartbeat. Each sensory memory is like a doorway. One trigger can unlock dozens of connected experiences. This is what makes nostalgia so powerful. It's not just remembering the past, it's re-experiencing it emotionally. Memory, imagination, and the future. Here's a fascinating paradox. The same brain regions used to remember the past are also used to imagine the future. When you recall a memory, your brain reconstructs a mental scene. When you imagine a future event, it uses those same circuits to simulate possibilities. In a sense, memory is not just about remembering what was, it's about predicting what could be. This also means that imagination can influence memory. When you picture something vividly enough, your brain sometimes encodes it as if it actually happened. That's how false memories are born, not through deceit, but through the mind's natural blending of imagination and recollection. How to improve your memory. If you want to strengthen memory, start by engaging your attention. Focus is the first gate of encoding. You can't remember what you never truly noticed. Use active recall. Test yourself instead of rereading notes. This forces your brain to reconstruct the information, making it stick. Next, apply spaced repetition. Revisit material over increasing intervals. It's the most scientifically supported method for long-term learning. And finally, connect new information to what you already know. The more meaningful the connection, the stronger the memory trace. That's why stories, analogies, and emotional associations work so well. They give new facts a place to live in your existing mental network. And don't underestimate lifestyle. Good sleep, physical activity, and mental stimulation all enhance memory formation. Your brain is a living organ. It needs oxygen, nutrients, and rest, just like any muscle. Memory and identity. Your memory isn't just a collection of facts, it's the foundation of your identity. Every experience you remember helps define your sense of self. When memory fades, as in Alzheimer's or dementia, identity itself begins to unravel. That's what makes memory so precious. It's not just about the past. It's the thread that holds the meaning of your life together. In the end, memory is both fragile and miraculous. It's the reason you can learn, love, grow, and reflect. Every moment you recall, even imperfectly, is proof that your mind is alive and evolving. So the next time a familiar scent or song stirs an old memory, don't just let it pass. Pause and appreciate the quiet wonder of remembering the beautiful, ever-changing story your mind tells about you. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more insights into the psychology of being human.